Hello everyone, and Shavua Tov. We're in Parashat Shemini. And Parashat Shemini is the third parasha in the book of Vayikra, and it continues the same theme. Okay, but of course there's an addition. So what did we learn about the book of Vayikra? We said that every year is a cycle. Every cycle we have another opportunity to achieve completion and spiritual freedom. On the book of Genesis, we have to start to learn to walk from the beginning, because that's what Bereshit means, the Hebrew word for Genesis. You have to start from Bereshit, and that means you have to reenact the rules. How to share, how to receive, how to balance yourself, whatever, and how to manifest it. That's the book of Genesis. And then the book of Exodus is about, getting out of your own special private individual Egypt. Addiction, slavery, grievances, all of this stuff, and become the person you're supposed to be, free, and take command over your life. The book of Leviticus is after you're already in charge of your ship. You need to get the calling, where am I going to? And that's what this book is about. So in the parasha of Vayikra 2 weeks ago, we were dealing about korban, which translate into sacrifice, in a nicer word, offering, but in the Zohar language, getting closer. Getting the letters of the Creator to each other, which means getting by our own actions of giving and offering of our own effort and time and juices and energy, by we getting out of our comfort zone. We have to concentrate that as human beings coming out of the comfort zone, that's how we get the worlds above united, and the light can flow through. And when the light flows through, you get the calling. You get the feel, you get the purity. The second parasha, that was last week, was the next stage. Okay, now how you're doing it, spoke about Esh tamid tukad al hamizbeach lo tichbe. This verse in Parashat Tzav, that the Zohar says, the Rabbi Ezekloria is saying, this is a special tool for cleansing ourselves, because it means eternal fire will be burning on the altar, will never be extinguished. In English it's very clumsy. Esh tamid tukad al hamizbeach lo tichbe. What does it mean? That when we are making our own sacrifices, but it's not a sacrifice, it's an action of getting closer to the spiritual world by kind of giving up the physical world, but not feeling you sacrifice, you're feeling you are sending. You know the difference. When you have that spiritual fulfillment burning inside you, and it is so truthfully fulfilling, you don't think it is a sacrifice that you gave up going to eat a steak. It's not a sacrifice. You gave it up because you have something much, much better. That's not a sacrifice. That's an ascension. Okay? But if you are focused on the steak, I'm not saying you shouldn't eat steaks, but the question is about the priorities. What comes first? The soul or the body? The more you feed the soul, the more it lifts you up and gives fulfillment and true feel of success and achievement in your life. The more you appreciate your body and your body comfort, that doesn't stay. Finally, the most beautiful body, sorry for the example, rots and becomes the feeding for the worms. Okay? What is your great achievement? I'm not saying you should not, nowhere it says you should be looking miserable and, in terrible shape. No, the question is priorities. Are you worshiping your body because your body is your temple? Or is your soul your temple? and your body is a service for your temple, and therefore you are maintaining your body so your temple can flourish. It's all a matter again of priorities. Where is the main weight of priorities established? That will show a day from now, a week from now, a month from now, your feel of success. Are you cheating yourself? You're cheating yourself, then you just run and run and run to feed your body. Okay, maybe with the best vitamins and exercises and stuff like this, and you go to all kinds of whatever. Your body will look so great. You know what? You put your body in a house. Wow, amazing. And you don't understand how come a year passed by and you feel more miserable than a year ago. Why? Because you made the trivial, you made the shell, the important thing, the main thing. And that never works. Never works. Okay, so, but there's a problem. In our generation, there's so much mixed up. There's so much confusion. Why? Because thanks for organized religion, people don't even think there's something about religion that can make people really feel good. There's some movements that do it, but the majority of the population in the West and around the world don't see that in this way. Either it's politics or tribalism or feeling that, you go with the herd and you feel like, I'm going with the mass, it feels much better. We're humans, what can we do? Or you follow your soul. And following the soul in such a noise, this is almost impossible. So that's what this Parashat Shemini is about, and we'll see what it is. Vayi b'yom hashmini. The name is Vayi b'yom hashmini. We're reading the book of Leviticus, Vayikra, chapter 9, verse 1. Now what I mean, it starts Vayi b'yom hashmini, and it happened to be on the 8th day. First of all, we spoke about it a few times, and that's always the sign of number 8 is very important. Why? Our body, consciousness, exists in 7 dimensions. Which means, I'm talking about directions. Not dimensions, directions. Because you can move to the right or to the left. You can go forward or backwards, up or down. And who believes in all of that? You. So you're number 7. So that 7 is the number of our jail. The box. Everybody talks about think out of the box. How do you get out of the box? Which direction? This is the 8th direction. Figure it out. Figure that out. Where did Mozart bring his symphonies? Where did Einstein bring his discoveries? They thought out of the box. How did they get out of the box? Can they explain to you? They lived a lifestyle. They challenged what everybody else was living. Which means they gave up on people appreciation and approvals and stuff like this just for the moments that they had an opening. If they were like everybody else, forget it. They would be afraid to be different. Most people are afraid to go against the groove, correct? And also, it needs much more investment, and you don't. Most people just go with the flow. Why the 8th day? We know what the date was exactly. The date was exactly 2 years after the Exodus, minus 2 weeks. It was a new moon of Nisan, Aleph B'Nisan. Which we're just around that time. It was like the beginning of spring days, so we are just right now in this time of the year. And why the 8th day? Because 7 days earlier, Moses started to put together the tabernacle. Somehow, there were dry runs. On the first day, they didn't come together. On the second day, they didn't come together. Somehow they knew it, they didn't know it. 7 days they were trying to put it together, it didn't come together. Only on the 8th day, that was the new moon of Aries, everything came together. And that's why we say, Vayi Bayom HaShmini, which means, there's some stories about the Mishkan. It was built exactly according to God's directions. What was the problem? You know how it is sometimes? You get this piece of furniture from IKEA. Everything on the list is there. You try to put it together, it doesn't come together. You have no idea. It's like you're in shock. Like these Swedish, they made it not exactly. Things like this do happen. So, what do? You give it back to the store. Did Moses give it back to the store? No. Said, if the Creator gave those instructions, that must work. The fact that I can't make it work means that I'm thinking inside the box. There was a bar over there that somehow was supposed to go around, but it was straight. How would that go around? Somehow, finally, on the 8th day, that bar fit in. Nobody knows how. It was not the only thing that did fit into the measurements, but it did work. And you know what? Whoever is building stuff knows there are those moments that things fit, although logically there's no way they're going to fit. Right? Like many times in life. Everybody says there's no way it's going to work. No way it's going to work. Forget it. But it does. How does that feel? Amazing. Yesterday I was in an event, and they all sit in Jerusalem, and the organizers were in shock. They were shocked of themselves. They had a dream. They wanted it to happen. It was doing good, so much good to people that needed it so much. And they said to me, everybody told them there's no way you're going to make it happen. And they decided they have to go for it no matter what, because, you know, what is life if you can't do good things for other people? You know, what life is about? It's just feeding yourself, just feeding your kids. It's like, you know, you're like an animal. Finally, it came together magically. And they were so outside themselves because they had no way to explain. They just had a dream. And the dream came true against all the odds. How does that feel? It feels real. Why? That's what the message of this parasha is about. And it was on the 8th day. You try again, you try again. If you don't have a dream, who are you? If you're not fighting for your dream, what are you? If you don't see the dream coming true or through, what is it for? What is life for? Just, you know, to live by, to get by? And that's what this parasha is teaching us. So on the 8th day, Moses is calling Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. I'm reading from the verse 1 in chapter 9. ויאמר אל אהרון כך לך עגל בן בקר. Remember, it's after it is a few months, more than half a year, or 3, something like less than 8 months, 9 months after the golden calf. And Moses says to Aaron, you should bring a sacrifice, an offering of a calf, to atone for the calf, and a goat, you know, like a scapegoat. That was, you know, the expression a scapegoat, that's from the tabernacle work. You bring them as offerings to, because everybody is still like, were we forgiven? We were told, but you know, sometimes somebody says to you, I forgive you, forgive you. No, they don't. Right? Because you don't forgive yourself. Does it happen? All the time. Now, so to bring a calf and a goat, you know, for atonement. So now everything will be opened up. And listen carefully to these words. So verse 5 says, ויקחו את אשר ציווה משה אל פני אוהל מועד, ויקרבו כל העדה ויעמדו לפני השם. It says, and they took everything that Moses ordered, and they came to the tabernacle, and the whole congregation came to the tabernacle standing in front of the Creator. Vayomer Moshe, verse 6, Vayomer Moshe, Moses says, Ze hadavar shetzivah Hashem, this is what God ordered. Ta'asu, you will do that. Veyera alechem kvod Hashem, and the glory of God will be seen upon you. Why is that important? Why is it important? Isn't religion saying you just do whatever you're being told, and when you go to heaven you'll see all of it, everything? What does it say over here? You do everything I told you. Today you're going to see the glory of God. That's a kind of a... no, we thought that religion says you will see it after you die. You know, that's a very good business idea. I guarantee you that after you die, you get everything I promised you. If you get your customers to believe in that, oh my God, this is it. You just had it. Religions made more money than any business in the history because they made people believe in that. And what does it say over here? Guys, after you die, you see the glory of God. No, it says you will see the glory of God. You just do that today. Oops. Vayomer Moshe Aaron, and Moses says to Aaron, Kavel HaMizbeach, do all of this stuff. Okay, I'm reading some other verses about the... and why the Torah has to bring us all of these details about the bloody stuff. They had to slaughter this one, and take the liver. Okay. Soon we'll get the answer. In verse 23, lo and behold, with chapter 10, verse 23, Vayavo Moshe ve'Aaron el Ohel Moed, and Moses and Aaron came to the tent of the gathering. But how does it say Vayavo? Not Vayavo'u, plural, Vayavo. They came as one person. Think about it. Some people said, you know, Moses is now giving the whole tabernacle work to who? Aaron and his sons. No mentioning of Moses' sons. Right? Everything goes now, from now on, Moses is not doing anything about the tabernacle. It's only Aaron. He might be jealous. No, he's not, because it says, Vayavo. They came as one man. Totally united. And Vayetzu, and they came out, Vayivarchu etam, and they blessed the people, Vayera kvod Hashem el ha'am. As I said, and the glory of God has been seen to the whole nation. Everything is forgiven. The golden calf is forgiven. Guys, let's move on. Let's party. 24. Verse 24, Vatetze esh milifnei Hashem, and the fire came from God. Vatochal al hamizbach, and consumed whatever was on the altar. Et ha'olav, et ha'chalavim, vayar kol ha'am, and the whole nation can see that. No, you can't see. Who are you? Only the ones who are really holy can see. Isn't that religion of the Dark Ages? Mm-hmm. You know one. Your salvation, if you just believe us, then you'll be redeemed. You suffer, you sacrifice, you'll be miserable. When you go to heaven, you'll be rewarded. I can't see any of this over here. It says, Kol ha'am, the whole nation. Vayar kol ha'am, and the whole nation sees that. Vayaronu, and they were singing in excitement. Vayiplu al pneim, and they fell on their faces. Who was falling on their faces? All the prophets. Mm-hmm. Why? When, there's some modern explanation to that. But when you reach a place of so much spiritual awakening, it needs one of the side effects is that you go through something that looks like an epileptic seizure. Why? Because the noise of the body is so strong, receiving messaging and light from such a high place needs to shut down the noise. And that means to shut down that part of the consciousness that is responsible for the motoric parts, and therefore many of the prophets were having this kind of a seizure while receiving prophecy. So some scientists, if you look on Wikipedia, the definition of prophecy and how scientists are trying to say, no, that was an epileptic seizure. And somebody answered once, how many epileptic people do you know who wrote a book like Jeremiah or Isaiah? Not so many. Okay? It's not a disease, but it's a stage in which your body awareness somehow goes to sleep, so the soul is thriving and taking over. It doesn't mean you're sick. It means that is quiet down. And that's why, when you meditate, you should be grounded so you don't fall. Right? All the prophets, they were falling because it's very hard to be both. Moses knew how to do both. Okay? But for most people, the people, they don't know how to do it. They fell. However, they fell, nothing happened to them. Okay, so what are we talking about right now? We're talking about something that is so important because getting the calling is for everyone. Mount Sinai revelation is for everyone. The 5 books of Moses is for everyone. Everyone needs, as a birthright, to have a prophetic revelation, an epiphany. If you don't have that, you're hungry. And what you're going to do? You're going to look for that high. So how are you going to find that high? So if you're conditioned that you get the high in the mall, or buying and shopping on the internet, or going and doing other stuff in the gym and stuff, so people go and try to get the high, or having some extreme sport, or going to all kinds of places, running around the world and looking for that high. And the high is nothing to do with the 5 senses. It's about something because that's what the book of Leviticus is about. It's about inner purity. It's about inner conviction. It's about the ability to focus on what you want. And first of all and for all is to know that the light of the Creator is what you're looking for. And the light of the Creator is the real thing. All the rest is just shades of the real thing. And if you're not connected to that, you can call it the glory of God, or a moment of epiphany, or just simply high. It doesn't come by itself. There's a procedure. Now you understand why it says you have to offer that, you have for that, and offer that, and offer that, do that, and do that. We're not going to slaughter any animal to get high. Why? This time somehow is over, some 2,000 years ago, and now we're in a different era. In this era, the sages are saying, "Uneshalma farim sfatenu." Instead of offering oxen, we have the lips that can say the words of prayers. So the prayers, they replace the offerings and the slaughtering and that stuff. So all of these prayers, because some people say, I'm going to somewhere, okay, to get to pray, and then why does the prayer take so long? Especially if you've been to a synagogue, like a morning prayer, you have that section and that section and that section. I remember as a kid, why is it so long? Why God needs that we just tell him how great he is? This way and another psalm and another blessing and another thanksgiving, another. Why? He's God. He doesn't need us to tell him how great he is. Only when you study Kabbalah, you realize these are the stages that you simply climb one level after another. But however, if you are not consciously focused on trying to connect to the glory of God, to the light of the Creator, and you're not exercised in meditation, and another meditation, you're not training yourself, when are you going to get high? When you get drunk? So some people go to the synagogue to get drunk. You know, some synagogues, they serve the best Scotch whiskey. And that's why people go. Because of the whiskey. What a terrible replacement. They go to the synagogue. That's why the Zohar says, in our generation, the curse will be people will go to the synagogue. They pray the prayer. They come out empty because they have no idea what they were doing. So they say, like, you know, I'm supposed to get high. Oh, Scotch. That will get me high. Yeah, but that high will come after with a buy. Right? Especially if you drink and drive. Okay? And especially if your liver is not so, and more than that, the alcohol, yes, we are after Purim, right? Some of us got high on Purim. But this is the different high. It's not getting high for the high. It's like training our soul. There is a high waiting for us. And we are conditioned, we are programmed to experience a high. If we don't do that, we will. Because we are creatures of magic. And we have to learn that. What's the problem? Where do you study magic? Elementary school? No. High school, forget it. University, if there's any magic left in you, they'll kill it. They will kill it. Everything that, you know, the most sour, bitter, like dry people teach in universities. The ones who are not like this, they go to the free market and they make money and they create. And they don't have to listen to all kinds of people's opinions about if you're supposed to do and you're not supposed to do. And that fits the university or the institution's ideas and philosophy and theology. Forget about it. Forget about it. Okay, I'm not saying everyone is like this. But, you know, I studied in the university. And my experience was there were a few crazy ones who really were happy people. And I loved to hang out with them. These professors, all the rest were dry, upsetting professors, which like was a very upsetting to be with these guys. It's like I was asking, finally, I'm with smart, wise people, and I started to question. I said, "That's the way it is." I said, "What? I came to the university to hear that's the way it is. I could hear it from the rabbis." Well, no, that's the way it is. Thank God I rebelled against it. So I was looking, I found some guys who also rebelled against it, but they were not the mainstream. These guys are always outcast. You know, if you know the story of, what's his name, Shechtman, Professor Shechtman, you know, from Haifa, he got the Nobel Prize for finding something in crystals. But till he got the Nobel Prize, every symposium of the greatest chemists in the world, they mocked him in public like a crazy lunatic. That guy was humiliated for decades by the biggest chemists in the world, the people that they wrote the textbook for the classes of generations of people who study chemistry in universities around the world. They mocked him, they just treated him like dirt, and finally they were proved wrong and he was right. And he got the Nobel Prize for that. Okay? How many people could go through that without simply giving up? You know, say, I was wrong, and that's it, and you're off the hook. No, he insisted. Most people don't have the guts for doing that. Most people don't have the guts to be so creative and to stick to it. Galileo, Copernicus, all of these people, They were there. They paved the road for the masses. But the masses didn't support them. They were fighting themselves alone against the establishment. Isn't that the story of mankind? And then we're standing on your bystanders, most of us, and we're waiting for the winner to clap the hands. How many of us dare to be the ones who break loose through, outside the box, and may take the criticism till the rest? But you want to feel high? You want to be a known slave? You want to be free? You have to go with your truth. You know what? Even though you make mistakes, and you will fall, and you'll fall again, but that's your falling, and that's your getting up. But if one thing is, this is the nature of startup nation. That's a nature that why to risk your good name, your money, your time, and to sacrifice. But you ask these people, do they feel like a victim that sacrifices time and is, most of them, they feel gratitude. They are not like everybody else. They feel appreciation that they have a crazy life, but it is so fulfilling. Why? Because we were not born to work 9 to 5 and to live those life of, as the Zohar says, of cows and oxen that eat grass. Achen chatzir ha'am. People, they eat grass. We're not here to eat grass. We want to make cakes and all kinds of breads and all kinds of pastry, whatever from our lives. Eating grass is not enough. But still, sometimes that's also sublimation, which means this is also hiding. So let's say you invent all kinds of stuff and you think you do something, but you're hungry, you starve your soul because you don't train yourself to connect to the higher realm of spirituality, connecting to the light of the Creator. That needs everyday exercise that is based on Ana Bekoach, that is based on meditating on the 72 names, of reading or scanning the Zohar. It is a must. There's no way out of it. You know, in the movies, the hero goes, he's having a boring, upsetting life, and one day he's driving and there's a storm and he gets a lightning shock and suddenly he becomes a Superman. Guys, it doesn't work this way. And he becomes magical. And people are willing to pay for the ticket because they want to become magical too. You want to become magical? You're supposed to become magical, but that's not going to be by lightning. It's going to be by your own exercising and own work and own effort. As we said, the Ana Bekoach, meditation, and more exercises, and reading the Zohar, and learning to be happy. Simply put happy music and dance with it. If you don't do that, you become stiff, your brain becomes stiff, and then your nervous system is becoming even more stiff, and that sometimes it's so painful. And what is the biggest disease in the world right now? It's pain. Because you have pain because of getting stiff. Because the mind gets stiff, the brain gets stiff, everything gets stiff. And now you get high, you get opium, you get cannabis, you get all of this stuff. Does that solve the problem? No, it does not. It's again another cover-up that you're not doing your job. So, getting high is a calling, is a must. You have to learn how to do it. It's a connection to Shabbat. It's a connection to the holidays. You have windows in the heaven, gates opening, so you can get something that you can get just every day. You can get high from doing things for others, being altruistic for others without waiting for anything, thinking. But there is a turn to that story. Chapter 10, verse 1. ויקחו בני אהרון נדב ואביהו איש מחתתו, ויתנו בהן אש. And the two sons of Aaron, Nadav and Avihu, took each one his own tray. They put fire on the tray, and they put the holy incense on the tray. And they brought it as an offering in the tabernacle. And it says, Esh zara asher lo tziva otam. It was a foreign fire that they were not ordered to. There are so many explanations trying to say how come they did what they did. The result was they were burned. They died on the spot. The whole celebration came to an end. And redemption didn't come on that day. Okay? Those two sons of Aaron, Nadav and Avihu, explains Rabbi Zakloria, were the highest souls that ever walked on earth. How could they do something like this? And the Zohar says there are so many explanations about their mistake. First of all, they did it because they wanted to get close as fast as possible, as close as possible to that light. Okay, that is being understood. However, everybody wants energy. You have a very close connection to energy in every household. Mm-hmm. You have the electricity socket, right? But if you put your fingers in the socket, you'll get burned. Or you get an instant amount of energy, but you'll get burned. Okay? Even if you want to connect to energy and you want to use that energy, there's the code. When you build an apartment or a house, it has to be built, the electrical system has to be built by code. And if you don't have an approval of an engineer, electrical engineer, then the electric company would not connect you to the grid. Why? You can get burned. A lot of people think getting high by all means. No. You want to get high? You want to go on the grid? It's not 220, not even 110. This is much higher. We are talking about the source of power of the whole universe, not just of your neighborhood. This is very powerful. You think that connecting to the grid, you need to go by code, but connecting to the awesome power we spoke about last week, the power of the endless, you don't need any rules. This is what it is to teach us. Oh, the two sons of Aaron, they were such a high, pure souls, both of them. They were, so what? If you're nice and you're pure and your father is the high priest, that doesn't mean that you don't have to go by the code. You have to go by the code. And if you don't, you get burnt. Because, the more power it is, the more careful you have to be about the rules, because the more power in that, the cause and effect are very close to each other. Right? What if you put the plus and the minus of a little battery together? There's a short circuit. Will there be an explosion? No. It will burn itself slowly. It will take a while. Slowly and quietly. But if you put the plus and the minus of your own home circuit together, wow, there will be a little explosion, right? And the code is that there will be a system that shut down the whole electricity. And you have to find out what's the problem, and you have to fix it, and then bring up all of those fuses, correct? Why? Because you can't go around it. You have to learn also the rules. And going by the rules is important. And the rules say you cannot connect to high levels of light if you don't have a physical vessel for that. There's some people, they just want to study Kabbalah or any kind of spirituality. And my dream is just to be busy the whole day, like meditating and flying and being in the upper realms and being so... And you go nuts. Why? It's like there's so much light There's no vessel. There's no vessel. You need to build a vessel. What's the vessel? So I have a student, he said, like, he was getting burnt. He has a group of people and a group of kids, and they studying, they try to get high from the study. You know what? They gave up alcohol, they gave up drugs, they want to get high from studying spirituality. And they feel they get burnt. They don't know why. It's no why. Funny, he comes to me last week and he says, you know what? I'm working in the last few months. I'm working very hard, like really manual jobs. And I feel so much better. He continues studying. Because you have to do with your body also actions of, physical actions, of using your body to serve other people. It's not just being up there. You know what? If we wanted to be high the whole time, we'll stay up there, we won't come inside the body. But the moment you are in a body, there are rules. And the rules are, think about Aaron. You have to slaughter all the oxen. Leave me alone. You have to serve the nation. Let me stay high. He has the incense. He can stay high, inside the chamber, 365 days a year. Forget about the people. No, he has to serve people. He has to watch them. He has to go and find who is fighting with who and to get them in peace. That disturbs me to be high. You want to be high? You need to build a vessel. There must be actions. Action in which you teach your body the priorities. Your body wants to lie in bed, to sit there in comfort zone, and you get your body as a no, I am having you. A body, so I can use you to make the world better. And that's the big difference. You have to go by the code. Being high is your calling, is your birthright. Without it, you'll have to come again and again till you finally reach that place. But if your body is not being trained and is not being harnessed to be used for serving the world, everybody has a different calling. You know what? You don't have to volunteer all your day. Just when you're working, you go to work. Just serve people the way they're supposed to be, out of the box. Go out of your way to make people happy because you simply help them go through the day because you just gave them the push they needed from you. And you've been getting paid for that. Make your life calling, being at service. When you do that, it won't be easy because your body will say, why should I? What for? He doesn't deserve it. All this like nonsense that all the excuses, why not to give the most out of you? When you do that, you will see that it's easier to get high. It's easier to be happy. It's easier to dance. Why? You have to overcome. These are the rules. These are the tools. These are the steps you have to take. That's why they say in Hebrew, "Ayefim ach merutzim." We are tired, but we are so happy. Which means you have to tire your body so your soul will be happy. Because if your body is always getting what he wants, you sleep a lot, you eat well, everything, you do nothing, you don't use your body to serve anyone. So you'll never be tired, God forbid. And then you try to get high, forget it. Your body is making so much noise. You won't hear the calling. So that's our calling. Be at service. Working for that, connecting to the light of the Creator through all the ways we can. At the same time, to know that in order for the body to serve that, you have to get him tired enough. So he won't be on the way. The priorities have to be made clear for the body. You have to go by the code. And no one can go around it. Thank you so much. Have a great week.